Welcome. This is Shakti Carola Neverin, your online astrologer and host for today. So I'm an astrologer online, probably because I live on Maui, in Hawaii. So I do 80% of my work and my readings online, mostly through Skype. And I do these monthly forecast readings. And I try to make them shorter than around 20 minutes, but they get too superficial and it would be too unsatisfying for myself, because having done astrology for 35 years now, I know how much more is available through astrology. So I like these forecast readings to be helpful and educational, but also like teasing you to dive deeper to learn more about astrology, because astrology actually can become a spiritual journey of self-inquiry and self-discovery of who you are in deeper levels of your personality. And for me personally, it has become very, very satisfying over the years. And when I started out with astrology, I was very excited. Then after 10 years of doing astrology, I thought I'm a hotshot astrologer. And now 35 years down the road, I am really in awe about what astrology can do and what potential and depth it's holding. So today I want to invite you to look at the sun moving into the next sign, October 22nd, with the sun moving into Scorpio. And Scorpio is by definition a very intense and deep sign. We got a little reacquainted with Scorpio with Mercury retrograde the last month. And nevertheless, Sun in Scorpio is always a step into a deeper perspective and understanding of ourselves. So I invite you over to my PowerPoint presentation, and I see you over there. I am what we call an evolutionary astrologer. So as that, I'm looking at the birth chart from the angle of what do you need to heal this lifetime? What's the higher perspective of your soul? What's your spiritual soul evolution wanting you to do and learn this lifetime? I'm also a published author with Levelle, and you can find out more about it during Gems for Self-Discovery. And yeah. I always like to start the astrological overview when the sun is moving into the next sign, which is usually around the 21st, 22nd or so. So here we're going to talk about the sun moving into Scorpio, October 22nd at 11:09 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We will talk about the lunar eclipse, October 18th, which will be in Aries. Then, of course, the sun moving into Scorpio. The Scorpio archetype and personality will be in the focus. So it will be of interest for you if you have any planets or ascendant in Scorpio. And then we will get to the very practical suggestions of the month, how you can use these scorpionic energies and the Scorpio wave to your advantage. We will very briefly touch about the new moon solar eclipse in Scorpio November 3rd and the full moon in Taurus November 17th. But there will be extra videos out about those. The art of astrology. When we work with astrology, we work with archetypes and symbols, symbolizing the planetary forces, the zodiac signs, and they can be expressed in higher or lower manifestations. So they're holding a potential of a whole variety of possibilities, how they might express their energies. And the deciding factor, like in our personal chart, how those potential held by the archetypes will express themselves, has to do with our state of consciousness. So my aim with doing this forecast readings is to give you a higher perspective into what to expect, so you have a chance to guide those energies, those creative celestial forces, into the direction you want to go. The next lunar eclipse will be in Aries, October 18th, exactly at 4:37 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I have done a whole video about that you might enjoy, but I'm going to point towards some aspects of it here. It is simultaneously a full moon. That's why we call it a full moon lunar eclipse, because it is always a full moon. So the reason for that is a lunar eclipse is happening when the Earth is briefly between the alignment between the Sun and the Moon. On the level of meaning, we can say that the lunar eclipse is an extra powerful full moon. And what's happening, it's restarting your emotional consciousness with a new level of awareness. Like sometimes when something goes wrong with your computer, we restart it, and then things sort itself out. So this is kind of similar. The lunar eclipse is kind of a new start and a new possibility to come from a different, more mature emotional inner place. As I said before, for each sign in the zodiac, there's always a high road in all the possibilities and a low-end road. And usually we kind of start out more on the lower side, and so more we evolve, so more mature we get, so more we kind of tackle the high road. So here's a high road for Aries, is to learn about courage, to learn about directness, truthfulness, making a stand, being visible. So it's also about developing willpower. It's about learning the right use of force. So the right use of force means, for me, for example, if I stand up to defend somebody who is more vulnerable, who is weaker than me. So like, for example, most parents will stand up for their children and defend them no matter what. And that's kind of the right use of force in my book. So if you have a lot of Aries in your chart, the moon or sun or ascendant or other planets, these are themes you're gonna be with throughout your life. And there's also this longing in you to want to be a hero, to want to stand for something meaningful. So taking care for weaker people. So this is something the high road for Aries is standing for. So we're going to talk about the Scorpio archetype, and whenever we deal with Scorpio, you can think deep, dark, and intense. So let's look a little deeper into that. The Scorpio personality is associated with water. It's a water sign. And also Scorpio is the sign of our deepest inner mysteries. The traditional ruler of Scorpio was Mars, but today we work more with a new ruler, Lord Pluto. Pluto, the god of the underworld, the riches found when you dig deep. The archetypal figures for Scorpio we call the shaman. The modern version of that would be the psychologist, the therapist, or the detective. So what all these three have in common, they are quite comfortable in what is underlying the surface reality. So the detective looks for hidden clues, the psychologist is interested in what's driving the personality, and the shaman, his approach is of healing and deep inner connection with the divine. When we have planets in Scorpio, what is important to us and what we need to learn is truth and deep honesty. So of course this always starts with ourself. And Scorpio personalities often have a deep interest into psychology. So a lot of psychotherapists I've met, they have Moon in Scorpio, Sun in Scorpio, Mercury in Scorpio. So you have to have this kind of urge, this need to go deep in order to do good work there. So with Scorpio, we have this focus onto the inner world of hidden emotions, the inner psychology, the complexity of who we really are and why we do the things we do. So Scorpios usually have this very intuitive, deep, intense inner posture of soul searching, of wanting to know what's true. And there is this emotional need for truth and honesty. As every other sign, also Scorpio has a shadow, but here it's potentially devastating, cruel, unimaginable kind of shadow. So first of all, there is this connection with Scorpio to power, power and charisma, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but the abuse of that can be that. So here we have the dictator, the power maniac, the one who does anything in order to stay in power. So a lot of those dictatorial societies in the Far East, for example, they would qualify for Scorpio shadow. Then we have the archetype of the wicked witch, the seducer. So it all goes into that direction of using that deep insight into human nature and to be willing to do anything in order to stay on top of things and in power and in control. Now I'd like to get to what we can do with all that, with having those energies right in our face this month. So how to ride the wave with Scorpio. It's all about revisiting Pluto-related areas and themes in your life. So for that, it's a really good time for some courageous, emotional self-investigation. Because remember, it's all about those underlying structures, what we are maybe not as aware of. So one good question to ask yourself is, what are your deepest fears? Because if we really know what those are, then we can be prepared, then we can be conscious and decide how we want to deal with it. And usually where we're holding back has to do with strong emotions, with inner fears. So this is a month for some honest inquiry and self-investigation and connecting with those strong emotions, connecting with your inner fears and insecurities. So this is a wonderful month to do some deep inner healing work. So it's a month to do some therapeutic sessions. If your relationship could use some support, go find somebody as a neutral person to help you. And then there's this whole field of physical healing, which is of course connected with our emotional well-being, with our psychology. So this month you can be extra successful when you tackle some kind of deep cleanses. So one of my favorite to do once a year is colon therapy, where you can do a week or 10 days where you are on a special detoxing diet and you do the colon flushes, and it really cleans out a lot of hardened debris from your colon, and your belly gets actually smaller afterwards. And yeah, I think it's a very necessary and smart thing for us to do, because we are so overwhelmed. Our physical body is so in need of getting detoxed with all the plasticizers and pesticides and chemicals and processed food, all the stuff in the water, everything we're exposed to an extent what never was around humans in history. So we have to be smart to get it out, to take care for our physical body. So also coffee enemas are a good way, if you do it once or twice a week, to kind of give your liver a break and have your liver flush out the build-up toxicity. It shouldn't substitute, excuse me, the once a year colon therapy, which is much more in depth. But the coffee enemas I look at is kind of a weekly hygiene matter. So check it out. So with Mercury, it's about thinking. With Mercury retrograde, it's about rethinking what it takes to stay healthy. And I'm a fan of Dr. McCullough, and she kind of brings it down to 4 aspects. One is optimize your diet and have natural food, organic food, not much processed food, fermented foods, and you can learn about that. There's a great book out there, The Body Ecology, where I learned to do my own fermented vegetables, which is a much better way than taking probiotics, because most of the time when they get to you, they're already dead. So anyway, so your diet, what you eat, is obviously super important. Then the other area he's pointing towards is exercise regularly. So at least 5 days out of 7, we need to exercise. We have such a lazy lifestyle with sitting on our butt in front of the computer for hours and hours. So we need to balance that. We need to keep the circulation going. We need to do aerobic. We need weight bearing and all that. So then we need to get plenty of restorative sleep. So I think around 8 hours, that's probably what you should do, but many people have much less than that, which means you take away the ability to your body to fix things, to balance things out during your sleep. So then he talks about have good stress busting outlets. What means you learn to meditate, you do yoga, you learn to center yourself into balance. EFT is a nice way with activating specific acupressure points in your system to help you balance. And then he talks about optimize your vitamin D levels. So a high percentage of Americans are low in vitamin D. And I think they talk about nowadays that we do need 5,000, I don't know what it is, it's not milligram, but some kind of units. So you might want to research that a little. And Dr. McCullough is definitely somebody I read on every day, because I'm on his newsletter list, so I'm getting every day a newsletter, and I found him pretty amazing. As a gemstone expert, I also want to give you the true birthstone for the month, or one of them, and this is the opal. Opal is the stone of transformation. It has all these deep layers of sparkles and light coming out of the depths, and it's one of the most interesting and seemingly changing stones. So they come in the whole rainbow, and just go with the color range you feel attracted to. So the high potential of Pluto we call the phoenix out of ashes. And this is what we're striving for this month, that in the area of your life where you feel ready to let go something of the old you don't need anymore, you can charge out of that into a new level, a new dimension of self-expression. And here's more Scorpio coming our way with the new moon solar eclipse in Scorpio November 3rd. So we better learn the lesson. And I've prepared a whole video for you to watch about that. Just in general, a solar eclipse is always a new moon, like the lunar eclipse is always a full moon. And it's easy to understand why that is. In a solar eclipse situation, the sun is hidden behind the moon. So the moon darkens the sunlight, and we all have seen examples for that. Then, in the case of the lunar eclipse, the moon is hidden behind the earth, so which is a very different situation. So we sometimes get kind of a red moon because the sun rays can't quite reach the moon. And then I just want to point out the next full moon in Taurus, November 17th. So again, you will have access, especially if you're on my subscribers list, you will have access to the video when it comes out. Here's my suggestion, the general idea that you can enjoy the energies you want to integrate. And of course, that starts with the acknowledgement of what is and feeling what is there to feel and being where you are in your situation. Because if you acknowledge what is, that's the next step into the future. If you haven't done so yet, you might want to sign up for the subscription on YouTube to be kept in the loop with the astrological forecast videos I'm making. You can also go to my website to sign up for my newsletters, which will give you a different set of information, and you will automatically get access to your free report for your love stone, which is based on your Venus position in your chart and your horoscope. So take advantage of that if you love gemstones and want to learn and deepen your knowledge about astrology. And of course, please like me if you like me. So that's always nice to have some kind of feedback from people, because otherwise I'm talking to this empty space and sometimes it's really weird. Of course, the deepest benefit you will experience with astrology, with a personal astrology birth chart reading. And I've been doing this for 35 years and I love to do readings. So connect with me. And I do astrology readings online through Skype. So wherever you are, I'm pretty sure we can figure it out. And you can call me to schedule an appointment in Hawaii, 808-878-8182. Or send me an email, head over to my website, MauiAstrologyReading.com. Thanks so much for visiting and hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed and learned something, and you might come back visit. And as we say in Hawaii, aloha.